Hello everyone, welcome to Deepti's biology class. Just now we have completed how the ovulation takes place, and when we see this entire development in the form of flowchart, we are getting this way, right? From the oogonia, the ovum got released, right? If we want to study this much, that means the development up to graffian follicle, we can use this diagram, right? This diagram we can see how this particular graffian follicle is developed, right? Now this is the primordial follicle, that means the early stages of oocytes, we can say. Now these cells, it can be primary oocyte, right? There will be inside this oocyte will be there follicular cells are there which surrounds it, and surrounded to that there will be the stromal cells. These stromal cells later become the theca, right? Now after some stage what happens, surrounded to this one there will be formation of zona pellucida. That means, see, if this is the oocyte, what happens, here will form the, see, here will be the zona pellucida. Now will be surrounded to that there will be remaining layers like a follicular, all those things. So where this zona pellucida forms, just outside to the oocyte, just outside to the oocyte along with its cavity. Now this is early pre-antral follicle. What is antrum? Antrum is the cavity which is developed, right? So just before how the changes will takes place. Now in late antral pre-antral follicle means more antrum is getting developed. Now zona pellucida will remain attached on this one. See, this layer is the zona pellucida. That layer is the, let me draw once again, this is the zona pellucida. Surrounded to the zona pellucida, whatever follicular cells are there, that is going to increase in a cluster, we call it as granulosa cells. Now surrounded to this granulosa, what will be there? There will be these theca, right? So as we have discussed, there will be, now how many layers are there? So inside there will be oocyte, surrounded to that zona pellucida, then granulosa, then there is theca. Now this theca is divided into two layers. You can see different dots are there. Here it is dot like outside, and here it is line like. Dot like and line like. These theca, the outermost layer is divided into theca externa and theca interna. And the cavity which develops, we call it as antrum. And all these cells, these layers of cells were there, these cells get scattered here, and this is actually the oocyte. Whether it is primary oocyte, secondary oocyte, whatever it is, that is actually the sexual cell, right? Now in the final stage, we can say as towards just at the time of ovulation, when the graffian follicle is developed, there will be outermost layer called the theca externa. Actually you don't need to learn all these development phase, but you have to learn this diagram if possible, right? Outermost layer is theca externa. This is graffian follicle. Note the structure of the ovum, right? Please understand, this is the complete, this structure we are talking about. We are talking about this structure which is ready for ovulation. That structure consists of theca externa, theca interna, then granulosa cells will be there or follicle cells will be there. Then liquor folliculae. What is this liquor folliculae? What fluid is there in the antrum? This cavity is called the antrum. What fluid is present? We call it as liquor folliculae. Now this structure is the one which undergo ovulation, and this is the secondary oocyte or ovum, and these all are the protective layers. So understand this diagram. What is, see, this is the structure of a female egg cell. So where is this structure in this diagram? This structure is equal to what is inside here. So where is the female egg? Female egg is now ready for ovulation, which is in the graffian follicle. This much structures together we call it as graffian follicle. So this one. So this one is the graffian follicle. From the graffian follicle, this ovum or egg is going to be released, or secondary oocyte is released, and that structure is this one. This is the graffian follicle. Within that there is secondary oocyte or ovum is there, and this is that secondary oocyte alone. Are you able to understand? So if the question is to draw the diagram of a mature graffian follicle, you have to use this diagram. And there is one more term which is given, cumulus oophorus. This is very important. Suppose if this is a graffian follicle outer wall and all these outer layers, and this is the oocyte. Just understand this is the oocyte and all these other layers are there this way. Now there is a connection by which these secondary oocytes are attached. This attachment is called cumulus oophorus, this attachment, by which the secondary oocyte is attached to the graffian follicle, this outermost layers. This is what we call cumulus oophorus. Now surrounded to this oocyte there is one more layer. This layer we call it as corona radiata. Now just a minute, then you will understand it. When you look at this initial stage, there were so many layers like C. externa, theca, right, granulosa. All these layers are now separated. All the things are there. Now what is left with this cell? This spermatocyte will have its spermatocyte cell will be there. Surrounded to that there will be one layer, we call it as zona pellucida, because here the zona pellucida is just attached to this cell. That zona pellucida will be there. Surrounded to zona pellucida there is one more layer of radiating cell, we call it as corona radiata, that we will see in a minute. So when you look at this much only, what are the things we will get? One corona radiata will be there, zona pellucida will remain as it is, and the spermatocyte get for spermatocyte there will be oocyte which get released. Right? Now this is the diagram of this one. That means the female egg structure or the female sex cell. Now what it contains? The outermost layer is called corona radiata. Then just inside to corona radiata there will be some of the follicular cells. Right? These are the hormone producing cell. Inside to that there will be cytoplasm. There will be a nucleus, and nucleus is surrounded by cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is surrounded by plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is surrounded by zona pellucida. If you want to go inside out, first there will be, just let me number. First there will be the nucleus. Nucleus is surrounded by cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is surrounded by plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is surrounded by the zona pellucida. This yellow layer which you can see here, this zona pellucida in the fourth number. Then surrounded to this zona pellucida there will be follicular cell, and the almost outside there will be this corona radiata. This is the structure of this one, this ovum. We have told ovum. When do we call it as ovum? Once it encounters the sperm. So two diagrams, let me just number 1, 2, so you will get it. So this is number 1, I am giving the graffian follicle which is similar to this diagram. Now what is inside this one? That is similar to this one. Same way here also. What is inside this one? That is this separate structure, that is the female structure. So when there is ovulation, what will happen? When there is ovulation, this is what get released out. Right? Now this is the comparison of male and female sex cell. Hopefully no need to explain again. This is the same diagram. This is the spermatozoa where acrosome, nucleus, basal body, these things are there. Mitochondria, tail, means head, neck, tail, middle piece, all those things we have studied, right? And here is a diagram for the comparison for spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So remember here it starts this is for spermatogenesis and this is for oogenesis. Spermatogenesis starts from spermatogonia. Here it starts from oogonia. The difference is this is at puberty it starts, but here it starts at the fetal life. This much phase is for fetal life. This is the same diagram we have studied already, right? So here is the difference. There will be 4 new spermatozoa which are formed, but here there is single ovum. That also when the secondary oocyte get encountered with the sperm. Hope this is clear. This both we have already studied. When you study the spermatogenesis and oogenesis, make sure that you complete this flow chart. You no need to draw together, but at least separately you can learn it. But you must know the comparison also. Thank you for listening. In the next video lesson, we will see the hormones which are related to the oogenesis. Thank you for watching.